The mainstream concept of balance is a complete scam to keep you average. Finding balance to me is going extreme to one side for a certain amount of time and then later switching, or at least taking your gas off the pedal. For example, when it comes to my diet, I can't find like a mid ground where people normally do cheat days once a week or every other week, whatever they usually do. For some reason, I can't do that. It just completely ruins the whole cycle. And then I go to a downward spiral. For me, I'd rather just go strict, completely no cheat days for a certain amount of time. Plus, I don't personally see why you would reward yourself with a cheat day. It just doesn't make sense at all. I found out this applies to pretty much everything that I do. For example, when it comes to my work, multitasking, I can't really do that. I prefer just to focus on one thing and just go narrow. So I prefer just to go all out pretty much. But you have to be able to go extremes on both sides of the scale and then find balance. Since if you continue that, you probably go crazy or become an easy target. For example, I agree with Jordan Peterson when he says you have to be dangerous to be able to be kind. Because if you don't have the capacity to be dangerous, then your only default option is to be kind. So it's not by choice. So does that really make you a kind person? Or is that just the only option you have? That's a lot of people's default state, and they don't have the option to choose to be able to go between one side and another. Don't twist what I'm saying, but a good example is you can't really be a protector if you're not a killer. How can you protect someone from danger, for example your wife or kids, if you don't have the ability to shut down that danger by matching its energy? So depending how extreme the situation is, you might need to have the capacity to kill, otherwise you won't be able to protect. It could be a do or die situation, a kill or be killed situation as well. That's probably completely off topic though, which I can probably make a separate video on that alone. So pretty much it's impossible to be a protector if you don't have the capacity to kill. This is more so talking about in an extreme sense, since these rare instances don't really happen as often, or any at all during someone's lifetime. Flight or flight could work in the situation. If you're by yourself, obviously you can just flight, you can run away. But I'm talking in the sense of being a protector, so you got a wife or a kid. You're not gonna run away and just leave them behind. So you're pretty much forced to fight. When it comes to balance, everyone always starts from the bottom. You gotta start somewhere. But for most people, they never really reach their max limit. At one point in your life, you gotta work so hard to the point where you find burnout. And from there, you could optimize your life, since you know what your limit is. Finding and testing your limit is literally the best way to find the most optimal way for you to function in life. Now, during this whole process, some people go from nothing and not having much confidence to completely shifting their identity. To the point you think you're the shit since you're a man in your word and you followed through completely. You said you were gonna do something and you did it. So some go from no ego to an ego out of this world. But then you have to be able to tame that ego and use it to your advantage. Otherwise, it's just gonna destroy you. Ego isn't the enemy if you know how to use it correctly. Literally, a lot of the greats had an ego, much bigger ego than the average person. They thought they were superior, which led them to make incredible breakthroughs. This is most noticeable when it comes to sports, all the greats. You can see their mentality and the ego they had. They didn't let them thinking they were superior get to their head. They found balance between the two. They knew internally they were better than everyone else, but they didn't let that affect the outside world. They didn't go around bragging and destroying their reputation. The balance principle doesn't apply to many things, so don't get it twisted. But for example, the work-life balance thing that people talk about makes completely no sense. Why would you want to slow down the speed of your growth and success, which will give you both you and your loved one everything they need and want, at a much faster rate, obviously? You'd literally get outcompeted and dominated with that mindset. That way of thinking is literally going to do you no good. And your competitors will literally just fly right past you while encouraging you to carry on with the work-life balance and also laughing at you in the background.